If you're coming to Puerto Vallarta and you like to souvenir shop, then this video is for you. The most prominent cluster of souvenir shops offering the best deals are located on the River Cuale Island and along the Augustin Rodriguez Street and everywhere in between. In this area, you're also going to find the Mercado de Artisans and Mercado Municipal Rio flea markets. These areas are all within a 0.8 kilometer or half-mile walk, which starts and ends at the malecon. What I like about this particular walk, in addition to having all the shops so handy and close by, is it is very picturesque. And that's especially true of the Cuale Island section, which starts off at the bridge on the malecon. So the Cuale Island section is just a path going through the heart of the island, and it's fully lined with trees, so you're basically in shade. The vendors can be found on both sides of the walkway. And in addition to souvenir vendors, you can also find a lot of other things such as restaurants. But one interesting thing would be the tequila tasting section right here on the left-hand side. They show you their operations, and you can sit down in a nice setting and try a variety of different tequilas and mezcals. There's also lots of history and statues, such as this one dedicated to Elizabeth Taylor, who was a resident of Puerto Vallarta, I believe, in the 1960s.
Tequila tasting, amigo?
Not today, thank you very much.
Today? Why not, my friend? You're vacation, not today.
Well, in this first section, you have the tequila tasting on the left, and on the right, you have Oscar's. It's a really nice restaurant, great for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A little upscale, but if you're looking for something a little more economical, there's a number that will pass through here very shortly. I really like this restaurant because it's very open and modern, and it has great views of the River Cuale and the bridge that passes over it. Great ambiance. So here's our first souvenir shop on the right. A lot of the souvenir shops sell a lot of the same thing, but you do find unique items in a lot of different shops as well. I would say some of the primary things that you can buy here: traditional shirts and hats and dresses and fridge magnets and all those types of things. But then they've got some particular things, I guess, unique to Mexico, such as wrestling mats and Aztec or different indigenous culture items as well. You often see items including t-shirts with the image of Frida. She's a very famous artist in Mexico. In the t-shirt here, she was an artist that I believe lived in this area at one particular time, and you see her likeness or image on a lot of different things. Now, I don't know what the significance of this particular statue is, but I really do enjoy it. It looks like an Aztec warrior, and he's surrounded by different animals, such as a fish on his head, turtles on the upper level, and iguanas on the lower level. Again, along the River Cuale Island, you're going to find different sculptures like this in a variety of places, some of them very unexpectedly. One of the good things about taking the path is that you do not have to cross any roads. Puerto Vallarta had the foresight to build the bridge over top of the island and the river itself. By remaining on the pathway, you're actually passing underneath the roads. Also note that access to the Cuale Island walkway is wheelchair accessible. They put in ramps as well as stairways at both bridges along the path that you see here. Underneath the bridge is this artist stand. They do some very fine art, very unique. Highly recommend you check them out. On the right-hand side is the River Cafe. They're really well known for breakfast and lunch, and they have a very popular brunch every Sunday. Highly recommend this restaurant as well. Very popular with locals as well as tourists alike.
Hola, amigo.
Well, halfway down the island, you will find this washroom facility. It costs 10 pesos to use it, and it's very clean, very well organized. You just pay a person who normally sits at a desk right outside the washroom doors.
Is it for a video with all this?
So in addition to the walkways at street level, there's a walkway, or I should say a suspension or hanging bridge for pedestrians on either side of the walkway that you can use to exit the River Cuale. Now, if you're not very stable, I wouldn't recommend these, because if a number of people are on them, they can wander or walk or bounce you around a bit. Lots of fun if you have kids though, so I highly recommend checking those out if you would like. But today we're not going to use those ones. We're just going to continue going on down the pathway up to the other bridge, and then we'll head on down one of my favorite streets, Rodriguez Street, because it's very colorful and it's lined with a lot of shops as well. And it also serves as the entranceway to the two flea markets I'll introduce you to.
Avaricia presente aquí.
So some interesting items you might want to pick up are vanilla and pottery. There's lots of places that sell it, and it's especially the vanilla is a very reasonable price compared to what we get back home in the United States and Canada. One other nice thing about this particular walkway, in addition to some of the history and statues, they do have a little fun here. This particular Day of the Dead statue is always here. I guess in some ways it's a Katrina, although it's not a woman. But what I like about the walkway is there's a number of spots that you can sit down on a few benches alongside of the river and just take a break and relax. Hope you noticed, and one of the things I really like about Puerto Vallarta, the vendors will ask you if you want to come into their shops, but for the most part, they're not overly aggressive, so it does make souvenir shopping rather enjoyable. Not a big hassle like in some other cities. So now we're coming up to the second river bridge, and you can go underneath the tunnel here or underneath the road, and there's a few more shops there, and there's a nice park area with more statues and gardens and some restaurants. But what we're going to do is we're going to exit along this walkway. There's actually a nice ramp here, again very suitable for wheelchairs and other people who use walkers and so forth. We're going to cross the bridge to get off the island, and we're going to go over to Rodriguez Street. I believe this is a common egret. He's obviously fishing for his meal, but he needs to be careful because every once in a while you'll find a crocodile in the river here, and it's one of the reasons why people advise you to never swim in the streams going into the Bay of Banderas around Puerto Vallarta, because it is very common to find a crocodile in them. This year I haven't seen any crocodiles in the Rio Cuale River, but last year they were quite common, especially from the first bridge I showed you down to the bay. Very unlikely to see them here at this between the two bridges, but it is possible. What is very possible is seeing a lot of wildlife such as iguanas in the trees here, as well as a lot of the seabirds that are looking for a nice meal in this freshwater stream. So we are now crossing over the River Cuale, and we are approaching Augustin Rodriguez Street, and it's probably one of my favorite streets in the city, not only for its, I guess, all the shopping that you can do along it, because there's a lot of stores, and plus it provides you access to the two large flea markets. But it's also one of the most colorful streets in Puerto Vallarta. Colorful for a variety of reasons. First one is that it's always decorated, not only with goods hanging out from the shops, but they do decorate it with different items. But secondly, there's a lot of flowering trees that have been planted along this particular strip, which adds a nice touch and a lot of color. It just makes doing a little shopping that much more enjoyable. The Rio Cuale Municipal Flea Market has a variety of entrances. You can go through some of the shops along the street here, but they have dedicated entrances, as you see here as well. I need to point out that this particular flea market has two levels. The first level is full of shops. Everything is jam-packed together with all the vendors, and if you want a very quick shopping experience where you'll basically find everything there is to find in a souvenir shop in Puerto Vallarta, going to one of the flea markets is probably your best bet. There's tons of vendors selling the same items, and you may be able to find a better price by negotiating one against another at that particular time, or when you're there, I should say. So this is Augustin Rodriguez Street, and as I said earlier, I really like it because of all the colors and the flowering trees. You can see the colors now, and I'll shortly show you all the flowering trees. Just jam-packed with the shops, and the first set of shops are all part of the municipal market. At this portion of the video, we're not going to go into the municipal markets. I'll leave that to the end. I just want to walk everybody through the route that we're going to take to go back to the malecon. Again, we started at the bridge at the malecon, and we're going to end up back at the malecon, just a little bit north of where we started. There are shops on both sides of the street that you can explore, but for now, we're only going to be paying attention to those shops on the left-hand side or the south side. So immediately after you pass over the bridge, you're going left, and the flea markets will be on your left, and the most concentrated shops or flea markets will be on your left as well. Now, this is a stairway that will actually take you up to the second floor of this particular flea market, and on the second floor they have lots of shops, but most importantly they have some very good dining options. There's at least 5 or 6 restaurants on the top floor, and a lot of the locals go there. The prices are fantastic, and you have a lot of really really good food, albeit a lot of it has a real traditional or Mexican flair. Now to the right, I'm showing you a picture of a flowering tree, and I think this is a bougainvillea in red, and they come in a variety of different colors that you'll also see along this particular stretch of street. So the next shop on our left is actually a tequila tasting shop. I bring a lot of guests here because they offer some samples that I really enjoy. Actually, most of the tequila shops or stores in the area will invite you in to sample their wares. What I like about this particular one is that they offer a wide variety of tequilas, mezcals, and raicillas. They also offer a lot of flavored tequilas, and these flavors can be anything from coffee or butterscotch based, or they can taste like a variety of different fruits. One of our favorite is passion fruit. The next shop on our left is a candy shop with a variety of sweet treats and nuts, and a lot of us, especially tourists and some of the locals, really enjoy their candies. And now again, I'm going to show you a few more of the flowering trees here. I'm not sure what the one on the right is called, but there's definitely bougainvilleas in pinks and reds down the street here. Hola amigos.
How are you, my friend?
Doing excellent. Thank you.
Hey, fine.
Particular store offers Mexican candy, so if you're looking for some candies for the kids that are a little bit unique, this is the place to go. I will say they have a great variety, so super offerings, but they might be a little bit pricey, so if you're looking for something similar, maybe a little less costly, check out one of the flea markets, because you'll also find candies there. Now this block contains the artisanal or Artisans flea market. Again, you can enter from the street level or you can go through a dedicated entrance. It has some probably a few more areas where you can find some art pieces, but I will say for the most part, majority of it is still very similar to what you could find in the Rio Quality or Cuale Municipal market. What makes this flea market very attractive is that it is very close to the malecon. We just got to pass over this next street and a short little walk and we'll be at the malecon itself, right along the Bay of Banderas. Again, this is called the Mercado de Artisans, and it's on Augustin Rodriguez. So we've now passed both the flea markets that I wanted to show you. So we're going to cross the street here. This is called Mercado Street, and once we're across that, we have a short little walk, and we'll be back on the malecon and right beside the ocean here, or the Bay of Banderas. Now, I'll also have to point out that there are lots of shops selling souvenirs along the malecon, but in my experience, they tend to be a little more pricey, and I also find some of the vendors to be a little more aggressive. That's not to say that you can't get a very similar deal there if you negotiate with them. I hope you enjoyed this particular section of the video. What I'm going to do here shortly after we get to the malecon, because I want to show you the entire walking trip that we just took, and again it was half a mile or 0.8 kilometers in total. I'm going to restart the video and walk you through both of the flea markets. The first flea market will be the Artisans flea market, and then the second market will be the Rio Cuale Municipal market. And I think you'll get a good idea what you can find in those shops. You'll find that rather than being on the street, they're going to be a little bit more crowded, but you'll have a lot more to choose from in a very concentrated area if you decide to shop there. Now we'll enter the Mercado de Artisans, or the Artisans flea market, and I'll give you a good example or a good taste of what they're offering here. I'll try and get some close-up shots of what products are being sold in this particular market. I hope you enjoy it.
Hola amigo, hola, bienvenido, welcome.
Hola.
¿Algo en especial?
Nothing today, thank you.
Bienvenida, pasen.
So that's what they have at the Artisans Market. I'm now going to take you over to a larger market. This is the Rio Cuale Municipal Market, and it starts here, probably 2 or 3 times as large as the other one, but it's a little bit further down the street. Again, it's only probably a couple of 100 meters, so it's not a very far walking distance. But in this particular market, you will find everything. There's a lot more shops, and as I said earlier, it's on 2 levels. The top level also has shops like this, but its main raison d'etre, or reason to be, is it offers a lot of dining experiences. There's at least 6 or 8 restaurants on the top offering traditional cuisine, and the prices are very fair. So fair that a lot of the locals and us expats will go there for lunch.
Porque antes nos prohibieron esto. Pero,
And now to finish off the video, I'm going to take you to the top level or second level of the Rio Cuale Municipal Market, and this is where all the restaurants are. I just want to give you an idea of what it looks like, and I think you'll be impressed. A lot of different smaller restaurants serving traditional Mexican cuisine at great prices, and they're really well known for their breakfast and lunch. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe.